Hi, Saskatoon. I want to talk about conflicts of interest and ethics at City Hall, specifically right now about the Development Appeals Board. And the Development Appeals Board, if you're not familiar, they hear cases about things like someone proposes a development that exceeds the limits that are currently legal within the city, and they ask for a variance of some sort. And so let's say you want to build a house that's 5 feet bigger than what you're allowed, and you think it should be your right because somebody else might have tried to do it or did it. So you go to a Development Appeals Board and you plead your case. So the people that are most likely to try to do this in a big way are home builders, because there's a lot of that going on. You'll see this excessively bigger and bigger houses being built, larger walls, the whole deal. So you'd be surprised to hear that the chairman of the Development Appeals Board is Nick Sackville. And you'll remember Nick Sackville as a failed candidate running for a ward in Saskatoon in a past election. But he works for the Saskatoon Region Home Builders Association, according to their own page, calling him a project manager of some sort. And he lists himself on other pages as bragging about that he works with the Home Builders Association. And he has made public statements, policy statements regarding the Home Builders Association. And if you don't know the association, builders that are part of their association pay into the Home Builders Association, who pays Nick Sackville on whatever he does for them. And now Nick Sackville is the chairman of the Development Appeals Board that hears the complaint from the builder. So what do you think the chance of bias in that is? And we went back because I was at a hearing a while ago that Nick Sackville was presiding over. He didn't have quorum. There was only 2 people present, him and one other person. He still held the hearing. He still wrote an elaborate decision. And then he put that decision out officially. I complained to the city clerk about that because it was my understanding that that was totally illegal. The city clerk actually agreed with me. They killed the decision, pulled it back, and now some of those hearings would have to be reheard now because they didn't have the proper legal steps. But then I started digging into Nick Sackville, and I can find 12 times that he has presided over cases at the Development Appeals Board that he didn't recuse himself and didn't identify that he's got this connection to the Home Builders Association when home builders are presenting their case to him. No conflict there, eh? How about we start getting ethics at the city? And you know the problem with our ethical guidelines at the city for city councilors and for boards is that they have to self-monitor and self-regulate their own ethics. So when somebody chooses to be, I would say, unethical in their procedures because they are in a conflict, and whether or not somebody will define it that way, I don't even care. If you get paid by the Home Builders Association, the builders pay into that, and you're hearing a hearing for the builders, you are predisposed to giving them their way. That has to stop. And on Tuesday, there's a really serious one coming. And Nick Sackville had better not be there, because if he's there, this is really going to get elevated, because one of the worst building cases in the city is going to come before the Development Appeals Board that was by a Home Builders Association member previously and now being pushed forward by another one at this current stage. This has all got to stop. So keep your eyes on it, and we'll just see if we can get ethics at the City of Saskatoon. Standing by.